Hello, Namaskar, Vanakkam. Welcome to CBSE with Sudhir. So, on popular demand, I'm starting the test paper series chapter wise so that you get to revise what we have studied. And I do hope you have already seen the explanation video of this chapter number 2, which has been done both in English and Hindi. So, whichever language you prefer to see it in, you can see that particular video. Both of them are in the playlist. So, let's get started with the test paper series. This is question number 1. In 1330 CE, a merchant in Delhi. See, please remember that you will be asked competency-based questions, which will expect you to have understood and apply that understanding to solving these questions. So look at this particular question, which is talking about something which happened in 1330 CE. A merchant in Delhi was forced to move his family and belongings over 1000 kilometers south to Devagiri under royal decree. Decree means order. A few years later, the ruler reversed his order and ordered everyone to move back to Delhi. Shortly after, the same ruler issued copper coins and declared them equal in value to gold and silver coins. Which ruler's administration? Pretty simple. Alauddin Khilji, Muhammad bin Tughlaq, Akbar, or Ibrahim Lodi. The correct answer is B, Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He executed this miscalculated capital transfer from Delhi to Daulatabad or Devagiri, and then he said that they should all be brought back. Alauddin Khilji called himself the second Alexander, most likely because what was the reason why Alauddin Khilji called himself the second Alexander? Because he was born in Greece, he wanted to project himself as a great conqueror, he defeated Alexander, or he founded the Mughal Empire. Always remember that in MCQs, do the elimination method. You see which of the 4 options is least likely and then keep on doing it till you reach the correct answer, right? So which of the 4 do you think is the correct answer? So the correct option is option B, because he wanted to project himself as a great conqueror. Pretty simple. You will see he did not found the Mughal Empire because he was part of the Delhi Sultanate. He did not defeat Alexander. He was not born in Greece. So the correct answer is B. The title reflected his military ambitions and conquest. A 17th century ruler reimposed the jizya tax on non-Muslim subjects, banned court music, destroyed prominent temples at Varanasi and Mathura, and spent his last 25 years waging costly wars in the Deccan. Who are we talking about? Akbar, Shah Jahan, Aurangzeb, or are we talking about Babur? So if you have studied them in detail, it will be pretty simple to understand that we are talking about C, Aurangzeb. So after each one of them, I've given this one-line explanation for you to understand. Now, how does this help? How does this explanation help? Because in case if the same question is asked as a 2-mark question, you should be still able to give this kind of an answer. So what we are doing is MCQ plus also the short answer questions in the same breath. Okay, let's move forward. Which of the following describes the title Gajapati used by medieval rulers of Odisha? Lord of Men, Lord of Horses, Lord of Elephants, and Lord of the Umbrella. The correct answer is C, Lord of the Elephants, because Gaja means elephants and Pati means Lord. So Lord of the Elephants. Rulers of the Gajapati kingdom were styled as Lord of Elephants to denote power. Look at question number 5, which is an assertion reasoning questions. I've included a lot of assertion reasoning questions, both in social science as well as in science, and science, not as well as, and science, so that you get used to kind of make the linkage between assertion and reasoning. So what do you think? We are talking about Babur and Ibrahim Lodi's Battle of Panipat of 1526. Whether this was indeed the reason for the assertion. The correct answer is A, B, C, whether these are the 4 options that you have, and the correct answer is A, because the strategic technological advantage of artillery and firearms allowed Babur to overcome Lodi's numerical superiority. Now, look at the 6th question and then I will move it down. If you study the map comparison of the Delhi Sultanate under the Tughlaqs and the Lodhis, which conclusion is most accurate? So we are comparing the 2 dynasties within the Delhi Sultanate, the Tughlaq dynasty and the Lodhi dynasty. So what really is the thing? B, I hope you have seen A, and this is the B, C, and D. The correct option is option B, because the map comparison shows that by the time we came to the Lodi dynasty, which was the last one, the empire of the Delhi Sultanate had really shrunk. This is about 1671 Ahom forces in Assam. So we have to talk about which factor. As I said, each one of these MCQs can also be asked as a 2-mark or even a 3-mark question. So the way I've written it and then written the explanation will really help you revise and understand. See, this kind of a test paper you will not find anywhere. So this has been prepared with a lot of thought. These are the 4 options. So the correct option is option B, because the Ahoms leverage means made use of the river terrain, naval versatility means, their ability to use the navy efficiently, and guerrilla tactics, that is taking people by surprise to neutralize the Mughal advantage in numbers. Let's look at question number 8. Now this is put as a box on a left-hand side page of your textbook, So you see that I read it so carefully that I even remember where it came, how it was in the textbook, etc. That's the kind of, ability to recall I want each one of my students to have. So Rani Durgavati of the Garha kingdom, option A, option B, option C, and option D. Now, I just hope that they don't change this thing and it comes on the right hand side page. Then somebody will say, so in 2026, it's on the left hand side page. Let me also tell you the page number so that there is no confusion. Okay, I hope you have. This is on page number 46. Okay, chaliye. This is option B. Rani Durgavati led the Gond kingdom in active military resistance against Mughal territorial annexation. Let's come to another assertion and reasoning. This is about the Sikhs. About Guru Gobind Singh transformed the Sikh community into an organized martial brotherhood, escalating religious persecution and execution of Sikh gurus by Mughal invaders, right? This is what he did. So whether A, B, C, D, whether it is correct or not, the correct option is option A. That Guru Arjan Singh and Guru Tegh Bahadur under Mughal persecution led directly to the militarization and creation of the Khalsa. Now, this is question number 10. What exactly is the administrative aspect we are talking about? So this is the Iqtadar, the Mansabdar, the Sadar, and the Tarafdar. Correct answer is Mansabdar. The Mansabdari system, this is a very likely question in the examination. So please ensure that you understand it from the video and you are able to write the exact meaning of Mansabdari. It happened under Akbar. What did it entail? So you need to know this. This is an important aspect as far as the Mughals are concerned. Question number 11. Surat in Gujarat, Machilipatnam is the name also known as Machilipatnam in modern day Andhra Pradesh. It's about 60 kilometers from Vijayawada, south of Vijayawada. In the 16th century, carried paper document. So what exactly was it called? What historical financial instrument is being demonstrated here? Ikta, Jizya, Hundi, or Mansab? The correct answer is C. A Hundi was a credit and money transfer document where you need not carry currency, that allowed merchants to transact safely across political borders without carrying physical currency. Why did Portuguese travelers and traders receive exceptionally warm hospitality at the court of the Vijayanagara Empire? What was the reason? Again, see, these are small aspects which any intelligent teacher will pick up and ask as questions. So what I mean to say is that don't leave out any detail and most definitely look at my video so that you understand everything in a thorough manner. So the correct option for this is option B, where we are talking about the horse merchants, right? Because they wanted to get the horses from them and ensure no other king was able to use them, especially the Deccan Sultanates. So this is the pike system of the Ahom kingdom. Answer C. The Ahom kingdom utilized the pike system to mobilize labor and military force without maintaining a costly standing army. Again, this is something which is mentioned almost in passing. So please ensure you do not leave out any detail. Which threat was successfully repelled by Alauddin Khilji? Portuguese forces, British forces, Mongol invasions, or the Maratha armies? The correct answer is C. He repelled several Mongol invasions. The term iconoclasm, now this is the side thing. Again, let me tell you, I think it is on the top left corner of one of the pages, right? So the term iconoclasm refers to building temples. So whatever definitions are put on the sides of your textbook pages, please look at them and understand what it means. Okay, writing inscriptions, discussion or rejection of religious images, and collection of taxes. Option C. This is from Telangana or Warangal in modern day Telangana, where we are talking about the Telugu chieftains. So the correct answer is option B, where they successfully expelled them from Warangal, Tughlaq's forces from the Warangal region. What was the core strategic motive behind Akbar establishing the Ibadat Khana, the house of interfaith dialogue, and promoting Sulhul Kul? The correct answer is option C. Akbar realized that political stability required accommodation, that is, you have, which is why he also married Rajput princesses, and you could have a very secular kind of outlook where you did had a very tolerant attitude towards people of other faiths and religions. A historian finds that rulers change frequently and many gain power through violence. What does this indicate about the Delhi Sultanate? Political stability, strong democracy, political instability, or peaceful succession? The correct answer is option C, political instability, which is why you had 5 dynasties within the Delhi Sultanate. Which literary work was composed in Telugu by Emperor Krishnadevaraya? Which is the correct one. Now, this is very easy because all three of them are very Urdu names, Persian names. This is the correct answer, option C. The last MCQ, assertion reasoning. This is again based on Akbar's reign. Which of them are true? The correct answer is C, because A is true but R is false. The Todermal system was scientific. It conducted detailed surveys of crop yields and land area rather than relying on random demand. So it was a very scientific kind of a system which was devised. Next, now look at the long answer question, short and long answer. Each one of them should ideally have, if it's a 2 mark or even a 3 mark, and you can expand on it, each one of them I've given the 2 points which are required. Why did King Narasimha Deva of the Eastern Ganga Kingdom build the Sun Temple at Konark? Again, I'm saying this is on the right hand side page of your textbook, and it is within a box, and it is almost mentioned in passing, and if you do not read it carefully, you will look at it. I mean, you will miss it. So don't just rely on one-shot videos, which will very often miss out these kind of small details. Commemoration of military victory built partly to celebrate his successful repulse of Delhi Sultanate incursions and his victory over the Sultanate's governor of Bengal. Cultural and religious patronage to project the military power, political sovereignty, and cultural brilliance of the Kalinga state. One tip let me give you. Always try to give some kind of a subheading. Cultural and religious patronage. Now, this kind of a subheading, when you give, that works also as a keyword. So you will, even if you don't write the rest of it in great detail, this will actually help you score marks. So try to do in the long answer questions, try to give a subheading, and also remember that don't write in bulky paragraphs. Try to write it in point format, A, B, C, D, or 1, 2, 3, 4. It makes it easier for the teacher to award marks, to understand that, okay, for a 3-mark question, the student has written 3 points and all of them are correct. So get you 3 marks straight away. So that really helps you be, it makes it easy for the teacher to award marks. How did Aurangzeb seize power from his father Shah Jahan and his brother Dara Shikoh during the War of Succession? So the first thing was how he defeated and killed Dara Shikoh. When Shah Jahan fell ill in 1657, he designated his eldest son Dara Shikoh, who was much more of a soft kind of person, not a cruel king like Aurangzeb became. But Aurangzeb defeated him, he killed him. In fact, Dara Shikoh's he was buried at Humayun's tomb, which means next to the tomb of his great great grandfather, because Dara Shikoh's father Shah Jahan's father, Jahangir's father, Akbar's father was Humayun, right? Then imprisonment of Shah Jahan to consolidate power and eliminate further challenges to his rule. Aurangzeb, what did he do? He imprisoned Shah Jahan in Agra fort for the rest of his life and crowned himself emperor and took the title of Alamgir. Now that can be another MCQ. Who took the title of Alamgir? And from Agra fort, Shah Jahan could see the Taj Mahal from a distance. What is Johar and what historical circumstances led Rajput women to perform it during Akbar's siege of Chittorgarh? Important. Many of these questions I have taken it from what has come in the boxes. Johar was a heroic act of final resistance where Rajput women committed collective self-immolation by jumping into mass fires to preserve their honor and avoid being captured, abused, or enslaved by invading armies. During Akbar's 5-month siege of Chittorgarh fort in 1568, when the fort was breached and Rajput soldiers died fighting in large numbers, hundreds of Rajput women led by their queens and noblewomen performed Johar to avoid capture and enslavement by the victory-seeking Mughal forces. Why did Muhammad bin Tughlaq introduction of token currency, why did it fail? Now this Muhammad bin Tughlaq is a definite question in your examination, so prepare him well. Lack of mint control, the state failed to prevent unauthorized minting, leading to widespread counterfeiting of copper coins and loss of value and trust that counterfeit coins flooded the entire market. Why did Maharana Pratap engage in guerrilla warfare from the Aravalli Hills, which are in modern-day Rajasthan, instead of fighting open battles against Akbar? Resource asymmetry, that the Mughal army possessed overwhelming numericals, so guerrilla warfare was a better strategy to take the Mughal army by surprise. So therefore, this was a better military strategy. Number 2, terrain advantage, especially knowledge of the Aravalli Hills terrain, landscaping, and the support from the local beels. In what way did medieval Shrenis, guilds, and the Hundi system keep the Indian economy resilient? Resilient means, surviving despite political instability. These are the 2 points that you need to make. That Hundis allowed safe transfer of funds, what I already told you when we were discussing the MCQs. And the second point is that guilds, which are Shrenis and merchant communities, operated parallel credit and trade systems that function independently of changing political rulers. So it did not matter who was ruling, they were able to transact their business. How did geography aid the Ahom kingdom in repeatedly repulsing Mughal invasions? Natural barriers, dense forests, hilly terrain. So pretty similar to Maharana Pratap, they were able to take advantage of the landscape of the area. Number 2, the Ahoms were able to use naval boats and river-based guerrilla strategies against larger Mughal fleets. So you see, both the Rajputs. Now you can also get a question like this, that what was common to Maharana Pratap and the Ahom kingdom rulers in the manner in which they took on the Mughal forces? So unless you have studied both and you are able to relate, and that's what I mean by a competency-based question. An intelligent teacher will always use these kind of parallelisms to see whether you have understood both and you are able to correlate what is common to Maharana Pratap and the Ahom kingdom rulers in the manner in which they took on the Mughal forces. So always when you are studying also, think of it like this, that there are these kind of similarities, there are dissimilarities kind of thing. Okay. Why did Guru Tegh Bahadur choose martyrdom under Aurangzeb's reign? Protection of freedom of faith. He stood up to defend the Kashmiri Pandits against forced religious conversions and resistance to intolerance. What caused the rapid decline of the Mughal Empire after the death of Aurangzeb? Financial exhaustion, because he spent a lot of time, 25 years, fighting in the Deccan region, especially against the Marathas. and there was also rebellions because alienation of key groups. Unlike Akbar, you could get a question about the difference in the manner in which Akbar ruled and Aurangzeb ruled, right? So you could get these kind of comparison questions also, that he alienated the Rajputs, the Jats, the Sikhs, the Marathas, right, because of his very rigid policies and the manner in which he tried to propagate Islam over other religions, unlike Akbar. What dual objectives motivated Timur's brutal invasion of Delhi in 1398? Religious campaign to wage war against non-Muslim populations who were labeled as infidels, and economic plunder to loot the massive accumulated wealth and riches of Delhi, right? So with that, we come to the end of this 40 marks paper, test paper. Have you shared the videos on CBSE with Sudhir with your juniors and with your classmates? And have you subscribed? That's important. We will be doing more of such test paper videos, which will help you both in testing as well as a quick revision. That's the dual advantage of seeing these videos, because they can really help you prepare well for whatever exam you have next. Okay, I will see you now in the next chapter of social science. Till then, tata, bye bye. Thank you very much.